have low density hair that gets weighed down and flat so easily, but these 10 hacks have doubled my volume and fullness. And in this routine, I'm using several affordable products from the drugstore. My name is Gina and welcome back to my channel. Here we talk all things naturally curly. I love simplifying things, talking about the science of hair, and really helping you problem solve with your curls, which is what we're gonna do here today when it comes to getting more volume and fullness. Before we dive in with the step-by-step routine, I just wanted to say that if you have low density or thin curly hair, do not get discouraged with your curls. Sometimes there's only so much you can do, and we can't compare our hair to people who have very thick curly hair. Those are just unrealistic expectations, but hopefully these will still help you out if you are looking to add some fullness and volume in your curls. First off, this is not exactly a hack, but it's very important to consider if you want more volume. Stop using those really mild shampoos and co-washes. Very gentle, curly girl friendly shampoos are often way too conditioning and deposit conditioners onto the hair, which then weigh it down. Look for clear formulas versus shampoos that are more opaque, and also look for shampoos with effective cleansing agents such as those with sodium C14-16 olefin sulfonate towards the top of the ingredients label. You might even have to shampoo 2 times if needed, or incorporate a shampoo brush, which is what I like to do to make sure I'm getting a thorough cleanse. This Maui Moisture shampoo is affordable from the drugstore and gives a very effective cleanse that's not too stripping. It's a good option for those with very fine hair. Next tip is to make sure that you're rinsing out all your conditioner. Stop leaving your conditioner in. That's only weighing down your hair. So rinse your conditioner out fully and avoid those super heavy conditioners that have heavy oils and butters like coconut oil and shea butter towards the top of the ingredients list. The Maui Moisture conditioner is unique because it's very moisturizing while also being lightweight. So I like to apply it to my ends first, then work the rest up to my root. I don't avoid my roots because they still need conditioner as well. I don't get it on my scalp, but I just sort of glaze it over the surface of the top of my hair to make sure that area is getting conditioned as well. Then I'm just putting it up in a clip so it can sit while I finish off my shower, and then I'm rinsing it out after a couple of minutes. And I will even take the pads of my fingers and kind of massage my scalp to make sure it's fully rinsed out and nothing is left behind that could weigh it down. So hack number 1 is to lift the hair off the roots after rinsing out your conditioner. You see how the hair is kind of stuck to the head after you finish rinsing out your conditioner? All you need to do is just run your fingers through your hair, lifting it off the scalp. This prevents the hair from being stuck to the scalp and prevents the roots from being stretched out and weighed down. Then the curls will start to form. You can kind of shake it a little bit, and that will help lift the hair up off the root and help the curls start to form. It's such a small little tweak, but it can make the biggest difference, especially if you're someone who likes to go straight to scrunching in your styling products. The next hack is to apply your products out of the shower upright and on damp hair. I have my hair up in my hair repair towel just so I can get out of the shower. I went ahead and did my makeup, so it is starting to dry quite a bit. So I am going to mist it with some water using my spray bottle. So styling on soaking wet hair can really weigh down your hair, specifically at the roots if you are someone with thin or low density hair. Now, if you're someone with wavy hair, more soaking wet might work better to help get curl clumps, but it's definitely a balance, and you might want to try tweaking the amount of water in your hair when you're applying your products in order to achieve more fullness within. Damp styling allows for more fullness and volume because the hair is a bit more separated, and with soaking wet styling, the hair is more clumped. Now, I don't want my hair to be stringy either. I want like small separated curl clumps that aren't stringy and frizzy, so that's why I'm still misting my hair with water. You just want it to be evenly wet. And the reason I recommend styling upright versus upside down like over a tub is because it's easier to look in the mirror to see what you're doing in order to place your hair in the right areas to better cover the scalp. And one of the reasons a lot of people like styling upside down is because they think that it gives them good root lift, but you can still achieve good root lift and volume with styling techniques in the upright position, which is actually what I'm going to show you how to do if you stay tuned. Now, if you don't like how your wet hair feels against your skin when you're upright, just take your hair towel and wrap it around your shoulders or put on like an old t-shirt or something, but I just take my hair repair towel and I will tie it in a knot so that way my hair is not touching my shoulders or touching my shirt, and that also helps your products not get all over your shirt. For more volume, you might want to skip your curl cream or leave-in, or just use one that's very lightweight. Skipping conditioning products will give you more hold, less clumping, and won't weigh down your hair. Pick a gel or a mousse that is moisturizing if your hair is very dry, so that way you don't need a curl cream or a leave-in underneath. Or you can just use a lightweight leave-in conditioner underneath, which is what I'm doing here today. So I'm going with the Curlsmith Hydrate and Plump leave-in because it's very lightweight and has ingredients that actually help with volume. This one won't weigh down fine hair, but you can also just skip this step if you want. Hack number 3 is to brush style, then apply your gel or mousse. So you usually see me do the opposite, where I apply my gel, then I brush style for more full coverage because I like maximum definition and frizz control. However, if you style and then just scrunch in your gel or mousse, you get slightly less coverage, which then can equal more frizz, but it also creates more fullness within the inner layers. Scrunch in your gel or mousse in sections for better coverage versus just at the end of styling. This is still going to help control frizz on the inner layers of the hair, but still maintain a little bit more of that fullness inside. For your styling product for hold, I recommend going with a thick gel that's going to give you some texture and grit, or a mousse, which is what I'm going with today, or you could use a gel of your choice plus some sort of texturizer or volumizing lotion. I don't recommend piling on a bunch of styling products. The more that you use, it can just weigh down your hair. Sometimes I will just style with a gel, and if your hair doesn't need a ton of moisture, you could totally just use one of those thicker gels that is gonna give your hair a lot of texture and grit. So texture and grit is almost that sticky feeling that you can sometimes get with gels. It's when you can tell that product is in your hair, and usually you get this with those thicker gels like the two that I have right here. Now, I personally usually don't go with this type of gel. I like a gel with more slip and more of a runny consistency because I have some coarse areas in my hair and I like more slip. I like to brush style with my products in, but this routine is a little bit different because I really want to show you all of my best tips and tricks for getting more volume, and grit gives you more volume that actually stays. So the Not Your Mother's Curl Talk long-lasting definition hard hold gel is a good one from the drugstore for this. It is a thick gel, so you're going to need to add some water and emulsify it in your hand before you apply it, and you may not be able to brush style with it in. It just depends on your hair type. Some people might get away with just using this and not even needing a leave-in or a curl cream, but if your hair gets dry easily, then you might want to layer this on top of a cream or a leave-in. The Not Your Mother's cream is a good option, or the leave-in that I just used. Another good option is the Curlsmith Fragrance-Free Shine Gel. This is from the Fragrance-Free collection from Curlsmith, and this is a very strong hold. It's actually stronger hold than this one, and this one also has humidity blocking ingredients, just like the Not Your Mother's one as well. Or you can simply just opt for a mousse. Mousses typically do give a lot more volume because they help expand the hair, and sometimes they can be very texturizing. So I'm going with the Not Your Mother's Curl Talk mousse today. This gives me pretty good hold. I actually get a stronger hold than what it says, which is a level 2, but I really like this. It's not too drying on the hair. You don't want to use a mousse that makes your hair feel very dry with a lot of alcohols. This one does not, so that's why I went with that one today. Another option is the Curlsmith Invincible Volume Moisturizing Styling Gel to Mousse. So this is really interesting. It's a gel to mousse formula, so it's a little bit creamy. A little goes a long way with this, and this one's definitely more texturizing and gritty. So if you have very fine hair that gets overly soft and you can never get hold in your hair, or your hair just flops really easily, maybe you want something like this that does give a lot of texture and grit to the hair. The only downside with this one is it is a medium hold, so you might still get some frizz with it, but you're going to get a lot of volume. I had some of the best volume of my life when I used this whole volume recipe from Curlsmith. I just had to do some refreshing because I do get some frizz with a medium hold product like this. So this one's a little bit stronger hold and a little bit less texturizing, whereas this one gives a lot of texture and grit and is a lighter hold, so you get a little more frizz. And last but not least, you could just use any gel that you like. So if you're like me and you like more of a runny gel, you could totally go with that, but then just add in some sort of texturizing product or volumizing product. So this would require more product, so I usually don't go with this method because I like to keep it simple. But one thing you could do is use the full body volumizing lotion from Curlsmith. I also like the one from the scalp recipe. That one works great at kind of plumping up the hair and actually helps to create separation between the strands. Another option would be to use a texturizing spray or a foam. Texturizing products aren't going to give you hold, they just give you texture and grit. Hack number 4 is to pick up horizontal sections instead of vertical ones when brush styling. So vertical sections can create separation at the root, which makes your scalp show, especially if you're someone with lower density hair. horizontal sections can better cover the scalp. Using horizontal sections may also result in less clumped curls for more fullness, especially if you have curls that naturally go in all different directions, and the curls will stay more separated instead of grouping back together. So if you struggle with your curls grouping back together and you are taking vertical sections, try using horizontal sections instead when you're brush styling. For my brush today, I'm using the Bounce Curl EdgeLift Volume Brush. This one is really great at creating a lot of separation because the grooves on the edge are much more narrow, and so it's going to create a lot of separation, and it does it all in one swipe, so you don't have to go back in and separate really large curl clumps. Hack number 5 is to separate curl clumps with your hands, a comb, or just skip brush styling. So the more clumped your hair is, the less full it's going to look, especially if you have lower density hair. I like brush styling because it helps to smooth frizz and gives me longer lasting results. So I just need to make sure that my hair is not overly clumped when I am brush styling. So pick up smaller sections when you brush style to maintain more fullness, and then separate them with your hands or a comb after you brush through. Hack number 6 is to lift the hair at the crown up and back using a brush to create bend right at the root. So grab a horizontal section around the crown and then place your brush close to the root and bend your wrist so the hair wraps around the edge of the brush. Glide it up and back for more volume. This is going to help you better cover the scalp and any cowlicks that you might have around the crown of your head. This is key for creating volume while styling upright. You can also take a handheld mirror and then look in your other mirror so you can see what you're doing in the back. Hack number 7 is to avoid a defined part for more volume. This is really challenging for some, and me included, because my hair always wants to part, but a brush can help direct all the hair at the top up and back instead of falling to one side. A zigzag part is another good alternative that you can try. For a happy medium, I like to do a short 1 to 2 inch part so my hair doesn't fall forward in my face. A lot of times it does still separate as the day goes on, but at least if you're styling it while your hair is wet, that's going to help it stay back without a part much better. For the side sections, I do usually pick up more vertical sections. This just helps me better clump this area because it's my face framing pieces. I want to make sure they're good and clumped and defined. I also like to do a little bit of finger coiling, which just helps to direct those stubborn curls that want to go in all different directions. That way I can better direct them in the way that they naturally want to go, because when you're doing brush styling in large sections, a lot of times it'll be forcing those hairs into the wrong direction. So finger coiling can really help with that, and it also gives you more volume because you're separating those large curl clumps. Then I'm just scrunching in my mousse, which is what I've been doing after styling each section. Hack number 8 is to shake out the roots after brush styling to hide any section lines. So while your hair is still wet, just reach underneath and gently shake the roots to break up any part lines. Even if you didn't brush style, if you did section your hair, you might see some of those sections, which shows your scalp more, which can reduce the look of fuller hair. So just go in and kind of shake them out to break them up while your hair is still wet. That way, once it dries, it looks much better. So this can be done upside down, or you can do it right side up. I like to do it a little bit upside down, and then I flip my hair over, and that helps create more lift right at the scalp. So that way the hair isn't kind of stuck to the scalp before I go in and diffuse. So this one's not exactly a hack, but a really good tip for volume. Use your diffuser prongs to lift the hair at the roots up and then hold. So make sure your diffuser prongs are actually long enough and extend out past the end of the diffuser bowl in order to do this. I get the best results when doing this when my hair has started to dry a little bit, so that way my roots aren't weighed down and soaking wet, but they're also still wet enough where I can shape them. This diffuser has holes in the diffuser prongs, so that way the air can actually reach the scalp, and the heat will help to set the hair at the roots in the upright position instead of just lying flat to the head. So if you dry your hair more in the upright position away from the scalp, it's going to create so much more root lift and volume. And this is how I'm able to still diffuse upright instead of upside down the entire time. You can still create great volume and lift upright. You don't have to diffuse upside down. Bonus hack, use some claw clips along your part and the top of your head after you finish diffusing and as your hair starts to cool off and set, and you'll get so much more root lift. So it's been about 15 minutes. I went and ate lunch and I'm ready to finish off my curls. I'm gonna take these clips out. These were setting in my hair just as my hair was cooling, and I definitely see some root lift there. But I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but sometimes when you go to scrunch out the cast, you still feel some dampness in your hair. And sometimes you have to break the cast in order to dry that because the gel cast or the mousse cast in this case will kind of lock in that moisture and we want our hair to be fully dry. So my next hack is to use your diffuser to scrunch out your cast. This is going to give you so much more volume and fullness in your hair, and it's going to dry any of that last bit of remaining moisture because the more moisture that's left in our hair is really going to weigh it down. If you feel like you cannot get your hair dry no matter what you do, then your curls might be over moisturized. I actually have a whole video on that. I can link it for you down below, but we want to make sure we can get our hair fully dry so that way it has the full potential of the volume. Now, if you have enough hold in your hair from your gel or your mousse, you should not get frizz when you do this. But if your gel didn't have enough hold, or if you didn't use a gel or a mousse, or if you didn't apply enough, then you might get frizz when you're doing this because anytime you're diffusing hair that's already dry, you can definitely over diffuse it and cause frizz. But I don't usually get frizz when I do this because I have quite a bit of hold and a strong cast in my hair. That made the biggest difference, and it was a lot easier to get my cast out with using a little bit of that air, and I don't have really much frizz at all. I mean, there's a little bit in some areas, but that's expected. Our hair is never going to be frizz-free, and in fact, some frizz is going to help give us some more volume. My next hack is to take a hairspray or a texture spray and mist it at your roots as you shake them out to help hold your root lift. So what I'm going to do is take my Curlsmith Flawless Finish hairspray. This is actually the stronger hold version, which has a little bit more texture and grit to it. And as I mentioned, we want texture and grit to hold the volume, specifically at the root. You can just kind of lift your root and then mist it. Like, I'm barely applying any because I don't want to have like super crunchy hair. And this is going to help so much if you struggle with overly silky roots, like people who have very healthy, soft hair where their roots are really silky. They might find that their volume just falls instantly and their hair gets very flat to the head, whereas adding some texture and grit from a hairspray can really help. I can't use too much though because my hair is coarse and it's going to make it feel a little brittle, but this is alcohol free, which is nice. So it's not too drying on the hair. And you will notice that the volume will hold. So I just mist it like that, and then I shake out my roots. Look at that. Can you see a difference? Like, I shake out my roots anyways, but sometimes it falls. Like, you'll definitely find me doing that all throughout the day. But this makes it stay. Like, look at the amount of volume right there. That is crazy. Any areas that are a little too soft, you can spray this. You can also spray a hairspray all over, sort of just like a veil of hold. If you struggle with your hair being overly soft, maybe your curls fall out by the end of the day, this is definitely a good technique to do, so you can mist your entire head with this. If you're using a water-based hairspray, you might want to take your diffuser and then just lift your roots and hold, turn it on after you put it into your roots. That way it'll dry your hair in the upright position, so that's another way to do it. But when using an aerosol-based hairspray like this, it dries instantly. It's not super wet. It doesn't really have much water in it, so it's not going to cause your hair to become wet. This might be one of the most voluminous wash days that I've had in a long time. A few come to mind when I previously used the Not Your Mother's Curl Talk mousse a while ago, and then also when I used the Curlsmith mousse, I had quite a bit of volume, and I'm loving the shape that my hair has. Make sure you're getting frequent trims because as your hair grows out and gets kind of stringy and thinner on the ends, it's going to be really difficult to get that fullness, especially on the lower half of your hair. I usually struggle with the back of my hair looking so sparse, but it looks so full right now. It's been a while since I used a mousse, and now I'm realizing how much I really like that. Let's put up a side-by-side of how my hair usually looks with my basic styling routine using like my stronghold gels and my regular routine versus this. Do I have more volume? I definitely feel like I do, and more fullness overall. Let me know which one of these hacks really resonated with you. Which one are you going to try in your next wash day routine? Let me know below. And if you're really struggling with your curls, you can now book a curl coaching session with me. I don't know if you've already heard in my recent videos, but I'm now offering curl consultation appointments where you can meet with me, whether if you want to do that live over video conferencing, or you can even do an email option if you don't prefer to meet live and you want a more affordable option. I do have the email option there. But if you're really struggling and you can't figure out what's going on with your curls, maybe you're a beginner and you feel really overwhelmed with all of the steps and products and you can't find the right products that work for you, this is definitely where I can help you more one-on-one to really problem solve with you and talk through everything. And I also provide a follow-up PDF guide. That way you can have everything listed out, the steps you need, the products you need to get, even working with the products that you have. So far it's been going really well, and I've thoroughly enjoyed meeting with all of you, and I've already learned so much about your curly hair struggles that have actually inspired this video and other ones that I'm making here recently. And if you haven't already downloaded my wash day tracker, I will put the link for that down below, but that's really helpful if you're trying some of these little tweaks and hacks in your routine to see what actually makes a difference, because using that spreadsheet planner, you can basically log everything that you did, whether if you liked your results or not, what products you used, so that way you can look back and see what actually made a difference in your routine when you liked your wash days versus when you didn't. If you're looking for more help for your thin, low density, or fine curly hair, check out the playlist that I have linked here on the screen. It is packed with videos for fine, low density, and thin curly hair, everything from styling techniques for more volume and fullness, how to still get definition plus volume, how to cover your scalp, and much more. So I will talk to you over there. Bye everyone.